It is important to me that everybody who has been hurt know that the sorrow I feel is genuine.
The president says he's sorry again, but is it enough to win the hearts of the American people? Meantime, pressure mounts in Washington as talks of impeachment swirl around the nation's capital. We'll have a live report.
Victims of crime in the Northland fight back against a system they say is flawed. We'll have a special I-Team 6 report.
And Friday night means only one thing to Northland sports fans: high school football action. We'll have plenty of highlights and a live report from PSS.
Good evening, I'm Mark Mallory.
And I'm Michelle Lee. While Northlanders are cheering on the actions of their high school athletes tonight, the same can't be said about the nation's quarterback, the President of the United States.
This is perhaps one of Bill Clinton's most difficult days of his presidency. In damaging and X-rated detail, prosecutor Ken Starr is alleging Clinton may be unfit to be president.
Jim Hanchett joins us live with the latest from Washington. Jim?
Good evening. Members of Congress and many Americans tonight are reading Ken Starr's report. Never before have so many known so much about the intimate life of a president. Applause for Bill Clinton tonight at the White House as he accepts a peace award. But around the nation, reaction to Ken Starr's report ranges from dismay to disgust. The report concludes there are 11 reasons to consider impeaching the president, including perjury, abuse of power, obstruction of justice. In public, the couple hugged. In private, the report says there were quick sexual encounters near the Oval Office, unusual acts, phone sex. 13 times the president touched Monica Lewinsky intimately. 3 times she touched him while he was telephoning congressmen. The president's lawyer suggests Starr's report is about sex and nothing more.
There are a lot of lurid allegations in the prosecutor's referral, but there is no credible evidence of impeachable offenses.
Now lawmakers must decide whether to launch impeachment hearings, Republican or in Hatch.
What I've read is very serious. It's not good. I don't think there is a fancy way to say that I have sinned.
This morning, the president again apologized to the American people, and for the first time included Lewinsky. He said he'll fight for his job and promised no more sexual misconduct.
I have repented.
But is it too late for repentance? Polls this weekend will indicate whether Americans are willing to forgive and forget, or whether people now consider the president unfit for office. That's the story in Washington tonight. I'm Jim Hanchett. Now back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Jim. While most national lawmakers from Minnesota are reserving judgment on the president's problems, one high-profile politician isn't waiting.
Duluth Mayor Gary Doty says Bill Clinton should resign from office.
I think that it's come to a point where the president should step down because it's hurting the country. There are so many important things that are taking place in our country. I think the president needs to be able to concentrate full-time on what the affairs of our country are instead of the problems that he's facing.
The president's predicament is definitely the buzz on the streets of Duluth tonight.
The folks I talked with said it's a hard topic to avoid. This group says it was their main topic of conversation at dinner. They all agree the president should resign.
And then he's certainly crossed the line, and maybe it's time for him to consider letting somebody more effective get into the office.
He just can't be effective. You know, he's become kind of the laughing stock of the world.
While some believe the president's troubles are of his own doing, others believe President Clinton's been set up.
I think whoever is behind this knew his weaknesses and took advantage of that.
A setup or simply a matter of extremely poor judgment on the president's part, one thing is certain tonight: most everyone has an opinion. In our earlier shows tonight, we asked for your comments. Should President Clinton resign?
Newsline 6 was flooded with calls. Responses were about even on each side. Here's a sample of what you have to say.
I would hope that he would resign before we had to go through an impeachment. But I definitely think he should be out of office.
I think this is ridiculous. So he had sex outside of his marriage. I don't condone it, but it's no big deal. Who really cares if he has sex with 100 different women? It's between him and his wife, period.
Thanks for sharing your comments with us on Newsline 6. We don't know the exact figures yet, but some are calling this the Internet's busiest day ever.
Parts of the internet were almost brought to a halt as millions swamped government websites looking for the Kenneth Starr report on President Clinton. We've set up a link to the Starr report from News 6 online. Just log on to www.kbjr.com. Tune in to the Today Show tomorrow morning and News 6 at 6 for the latest on reaction to Mr. Starr's report.
Now to a story with a happy ending. Mel, the missing kangaroo, is back home where he belongs. Mel decided to take a few days off from zoo life and go out on his own. He escaped from an 8-foot fence and wandered around Duluth for 6 days. After several attempts to catch Mel, the zoo finally got their man today near the Highland Park area. Now he's doing just fine right now, but remains in solitary confinement until a bigger fence is built.
Here now is a look at some of tomorrow's headlines tonight with the Up North Newspaper Network. The Cloquet Senior Dining Program is looking for a new home, and they're under a tight deadline. For details, see tomorrow's Pine Knot. Ameritech workers in the Ashland area will be affected by the multi-million-dollar sale to Century Tel. Find out what's happening in tomorrow's Daily Press. And in tomorrow's Daily Telegram, you'll get the details of a proposal for the oversight of Superior's museums. Well, it rained hard today for about 2 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't very long, was it?
Mm-mm.
What we could really use is a nice long drenching, and George is in the weather office studying the latest radar. George.
Well, I'll tell you, Mark, we could use a drenching. We've been needing a good drenching for probably the last 8, 9, 10 weeks. Haven't been able to develop. It's feast or famine. Take a look. Always our weather highlight this whole week has been feisty Tropical Storm Francis, which has refused to pack it in down there across Texas. When we come back in a few minutes, I'm going to have pictures from a possible tornado in the Houston area. And then if you go on over towards the spots around Louisiana, they've been getting rain at about 1 inch an hour. We'll take you in there. We'll show you the waking up forecast for us. Nothing like that at all on tap. We're going to be talking about numbers in the 50s to around 60 degrees. And that's going to be feeling pretty warm, but I'll tell you the cool air is going to be coming in during the day tomorrow. So overall, what we're going to be left with is an ultimately pleasant weekend, but lacking the rain we so desperately need.
All right, thank you very much, George.
Well, is there a fundamental flaw in the criminal justice system? Coming up on News 6 at 10, criminals are often ordered to pay restitution to their victims. But what happens when they don't pay?
Barbara Riles is in next with a special investigation. And it's a big night for high school football.
That's right, Mark and Michelle. I'm John Schottenbauer out here at Public School Stadium. A big game between Denfeld and East. We'll tell you all about it later in the show.
Keeping you in touch with today's news with Michelle Lee, Mark Mallory, meteorologist George Kessler, Tom Hansen Sports, and special reports from Barbara Riles. You're watching News 6 at 10.
Do you ever lie awake at night, staring at the stars, wondering about garage doors and openers? Who invented them? Who's built and installed more than anyone? And who would you call if you needed one?
Get a life.
The genuine, the original, overhead door. What else do you need to know?
Hi, Preston here again. You know about Fox Woodland, Kenwood, and Lakeside pharmacies. Now that we've added Fox Lake Nell in the Mariner Mall, we really can deliver anywhere and all over the Twin Ports. We go here. We go here. We go here.
Just what the doctor ordered with Fox Pharmacy.
Hollywood has been making disasters for years. But a real disaster is another story. We know. We're the Army National Guard. We train part-time, 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks a year. So we're ready for a crisis, anytime. If you've ever wished you could help, you can. Call 1-800-GO-GUARD.
In the Army National Guard, you can.
It's
It's a battle for air supremacy in St. Louis as Chris Carter and the Vikings take on high-flying Isaac Bruce and the Rams.
Whoa, Bubba. You're going to want to invite all your friends over for this one.
Catch the Vikings this Sunday at noon on News 6.
Aikman clashes with Elway in a showdown for the ages.
I was the only one fighting for this justice, and things weren't being done. It was so frustrating.
And robbed in Duluth, the ordeal taught Darla to fear the justice system as much as the criminals, and she has emerged a champion of victims' rights. Well, there's a growing outcry from victims of crime that they're being hurt by a justice system that cares more for the guilty than the innocent.
Many claim the system coddles the criminal while ignoring the victim. Barbara Riles continues her exclusive I-Team investigation about victims' rights. Barbara?
Mark and Michelle, as I talked with victims of crime, from parents of murdered children to victims of assault and burglary, there was a common theme. They feel our justice system bends over backwards to protect the rights of the accused while trampling their rights and hurting them in the process.
Shun me off, made me feel intimidated, like I was a perpetrator instead of the victim. I felt that way through most of it, and I kept fighting and fighting because I thought, this isn't justice.
For 6 months, Darla Koski of Duluth lived in fear. She was being stalked by a woman who was jealous of her. The woman broke into her home in the middle of the night and stood over Darla's bed with an ice pick.
I looked at the clock because I wanted to know what time of day I was going to die.
The woman stole Darla's purse, spent the money, and forged the checks. Altogether, Darla was robbed of more than $900. The thief was caught and ordered to pay restitution. A St. Louis County probation officer was assigned to make sure Darla got her money back, but 4 years later, she had received only $50.
I just was very angry by this time because I kept thinking, he has not done his part. It went down as a court order that I was to receive $20 a month, and I wasn't.
Assault victim Donna Waters had the same problem.
I'm angry that I only received 45% of the restitution that was court-ordered to me. I'm angry that I had nightmares for 2.5, 3 years. I'm angry that I still have them occasionally.
Inability for victims to collect their court-ordered restitution is a big problem all over the nation.
But it's a joke. You know, people think that they're going to get it, and they're not. And sometimes horrendous amounts of restitution are ordered, and people think, oh, you know, I'm going to at least get my money back. Yeah, right. When? You know, when you're 90, it's not going to happen.
Oftentimes, corrections doesn't stay on top of it. And when the sentence is over, you lose that hammer.
Sex abuse victim David Samarja had the same problem, and when he tried to collect what the court ordered, he suffered further abuse from public sentiment.
It's tough, but sometimes when there's letters to the editor and they're, it helps me somehow decide that I'm doing the right things.
The poor guy is just trying to collect his money, and what is he supposed to do? I mean, he's been hurt already by a crime, and all he's trying to do is collect.
Inability to collect restitution isn't the only problem victims face. If the offender is a juvenile, often even the victim isn't allowed into the courtroom to see justice done. If there's more than one offender involved in a crime, such as there were in the murder of Paul Antonich, each of the defendants is tried separately, forcing the victim to relive the crime several times and often attend dozens of court appearances. And often a victim isn't informed when the offender will be in court or the terms of a plea bargain or when an offender is released from incarceration. State Crime Victim Ombudsman Laura Goodman Brown is outspoken about the way victims are mistreated. She says laws must be changed to afford more victims' rights and to provide penalties for violating those rights.
Is that victims should be entitled to an attorney of their own, that they shouldn't have to pay. They should have someone who is representing their interests, just like the defendant has.
Victims with complaints about how they were treated in the justice system can take those concerns to the State Crime Victim and Witness Advisory Council. Ombudsmen will investigate complaints, and though it's usually after the fact, they can sometimes fix glitches so that future victims are protected. You can reach the Victim Ombudsman Office at 1-800-247-0390 or 1-612-282-6256. Those lines are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mark and Michelle?
Barbara, how do the people you spoke with feel about the proposed amendment to the U.S. Constitution giving victims more rights?
Well, the problem they see, Michelle, is that it doesn't contain any penalties for non-compliance. They say without teeth, it just promises, makes promises that won't be kept, and it re-victimizes the victim.
Okay, thank you, Barbara, for that live report.
Well, school may be back in session, but it sure feels like summer outside. George is promising that the mercury will drop a notch over the weekend. And what a night for football.
Yeah, we'll take you out to a big doubleheader at Public School Stadium. That's coming up.
At Sieben Gross and Von Holtum, we believe in our slogan, if you've been hurt in an accident, know your rights. I grew up here and I've been practicing law for 15 years. To me, good law is building real trust. It's helping people understand what they're up against. For example, I can help you plan for future medical expenses you may not have considered. You know, I love my job because we work for the little guy. If you've been injured, call me and know your rights. That says it all.
If you're looking for an ATV with a fully independent suspension up front and a semi-independent suspension in back, one with more suspension travel, more ground clearance, more cargo capacity and torque, one name should come to mind. Arctic Cat, a whole different animal. Get a Warren winch kit for $99 when you buy an Arctic Cat ATV.
Out here, it seems the wind never stops blowing. They call it the velocity zone. Build and remodel homes here, and you soon learn what you can and can't trust. Contractor John Miranda trusts only one window, Anderson. That's why if you ask him to use anything other than Anderson, he'll ask you to sign a release. So his reputation remains solid. Worry-proof, time-proof. Anderson Windows.
Come walk with me. I'm Michelle Lee with News 6. Join me for the Alzheimer's Memory Walk, Saturday, September 12th. Help over 83,000 Minnesotans, their families, and caregivers who are affected by Alzheimer's disease. Take the first step by signing up today as an individual or even as a team. Meet us for a fun day of prizes, food, and the Shrine Clowns at the Alzheimer's Memory Walk, Saturday, September 12th at the Park Point Pavilion, Duluth.
Special thanks to these businesses for all their support.
George Kessler's weather is certified by the American Meteorological Society.
Well, I'm not one to speak badly of people, but it appears that Francis has really let us down in the rain department.
Francis, well, I mean, Francis is going to town on Louisiana.
Yes. Oh, yeah, big time.
The thing about Francis is that it never had any guidance. I mean, Francis was one of those lonely storms. You know, you always hear the neighbors talk about it. It was a lonely storm. Didn't go out much. Never really heard much from him. But here's the thing. It wandered around the Gulf of Mexico forever, and then wandered on shore. Now it's wandering around Texas.
Just dumping inches of rain.
Yeah, it takes out jobs and then leaves town.
They might have to set up a pipeline from there up to here to bring us...
Well, I seem to remember there being a big controversy when they talked about running the pipeline the other way. We're not going to start any fights. It's Friday night. Everybody gets along. It's almost the weekend. Temperature right now is 71 degrees, dew point 64. Half-heart, I have a feeling that there are a few Northlanders who are trying to maybe hit the hay and wondering when it's going to feel more like fall. Be patient. Winds are in the north. The front is gone by. Just the front is kind of a slacker, too. Pressure 29.93. It is rising. Humidity up there 78% with that dew point of 64. It's a very uncomfortable summery night. But look off to our north. This is where those cool temperatures are residing. It's 58 degrees right now in International Falls, but just a few hours ago it was 75. So this is the leading edge of the really cool stuff. Knifing down through Minnesota. It will reach Wisconsin and the Twin Ports area. Just give it time. It'll probably be sometime in the middle of the night. Leave the windows open. You'll wake up nice and chilly and refreshed in the morning. Here are the temperatures across the continent. 60s mainly, just a little cold pocket off there to the northeast, but we're beginning to see some assertion from 50s up here to the north. That's good news. That's the direction that our wind is coming down from, so we will be seeing those. Out to the west, that pocket of 50s from a huge batch of thunderstorms. They were down in the 60s in Las Vegas today, almost unheard of. Well, there's Francis. We've heaped abuse and scorn, but watch what happens. You see, there's a little bit of a jog to the east. Not good news for Northlanders. That means the moisture and the whole body of Francis is going to be moving off to the east and not get involved with another cold front that's heading our way. If we don't have the big straw effect, chances are that we're not going to be talking about a great deal of moisture. There's the circulation. There's a really, really heavy rain. Poor old Louisiana. They have had a foot plus of rainfall just today. We're going to hear about tremendous flooding tomorrow, and that heavy rain is now spreading into Mississippi. Out to the west, there are those showers and thunderstorms. They'll become part of our world on Sunday. Now, I promised you a look at some tornado damage across Houston, so here it is. It's an unconfirmed tornado, although they had problems with 2 separate airliners coming into land at Hobby Airport. One of them forced to go off the end of the runway into the mud. And they also had 2 townhomes that were knocked flat by the winds. I'm not sure if we have those pictures or not. Oh, we do have those pictures, so we'll show them to you. This is how things appeared. You know, it's very difficult to say because they had such high winds from the tropical storm. It took down brick siding. Of course, the roofs were off, and they've had so much rain. Flooding has become a tremendous problem. So with everything that can happen inside of a tropical storm, picking out what did what is often difficult. These scenes will be repeated tomorrow across the southeast. Let's come back closer to home. We'll put our fronts into motion. This weak cold front goes on by tomorrow, pristine, nice day. But as we look off to the west, we will see gathering storm systems. So by Sunday, the showers and thunderstorms they had around Las Vegas will be knocking on our door. Here's forecast for the rest of tonight. Cooling off. Give it time. Lows will make it down into the 50s, but it's going to be a very stately process. For tomorrow, a much cooler day. 65, 70 degrees most locations. A few lower 70s will be found across northwestern Wisconsin. And look at the 5-day forecast. The opportunity for storms with that next system is late Sunday, early Monday, after which another blob of high pressure parks itself over the region.
Hey, that's not too bad. A little rain on Sunday, perhaps Monday.
Yeah, if we can score some decent rainfall on Sunday, then we can enjoy the high pressure.
Okay, thanks, George.
Yep.
Friday football is sweeping the Northland tonight.
Tom Hansen's in next with all of the scores and highlights. Plus, we'll hit the sidelines for a special live report from tonight's doubleheader. That and more coming up.
The best prices, the best service, and the best trade-in allowances. Nobody does it better than Egerbrecht Chevrolet. The temperatures may be falling, but the prices are heating up on the best lease vehicles in the area. Lease a brand new 99 Geo Prism for just $199 a month. Or how about this 98 CK Extended Camp pickup just in time for the fall hunting season. Lease it for just $259 a month.
At the dealership you can trust, Egerbrecht Chevrolet, where you, the customer, are always number one.
Everest. Experience the top of the world only at Duluth's Omnimax Theater.
Honey, you got a license for that thing?
For my lunch? Taco John's El Grande Tacos and Burritos.
This cannot be legal.
It's Conan's 5th anniversary special, and it's in prime time, so we've been asked to behave appropriately. Yeah, right. It's all the glamour and sophistication of late night, but now it's on when people are actually awake. For me to poop on! Conan's 5th anniversary prime time special, Wednesday, September 16th. And if we go down, we're taking the whole network with us.
In the 30 years that Scott and I have worked in law enforcement, we've probably seen everything.
You know, the one thing they were pleased with is a low youth crime rate in our area. And a lot of that is due to the United Way contributions and the programs that are funded by the United Way. After a year of study and donor input, United Way has decided that youth development and basic needs for families are 2 of their priorities.
And the programs Scott mentioned are only made possible because of the conscious decision you have made to contribute to the United Way.
And now, sports with Tom Hansen.
football tonight, right, Tom?
Very hot, very humid, and plenty of action on the gridiron tonight. It was tough holding on to the ball a little bit because of all the humidity. Lots of action tonight. Prep football takes center stage across the Northland tonight as the gridiron action got underway. It took 71 points to decide the Duluth Central Minneapolis North game out at Public School Stadium. This was a non-conference battle that seesawed back and forth. Lots of turnovers by both teams. Hot and humid, as we've talked about. Pickup action in the second quarter here. Jeff Peterson scores from a yard out. That gave the Trojans a 16-12 lead with 3:07 to go in the half. On the ensuing kickoff, watch this. Jermaine Washington, about 80 yards. Central was down 20-6 at the half. But look at this on the ensuing kickoff. Washington goes the distance. Moving on into the second half, Camden Vetter for Central. A little delay in the backfield. There he goes around right in, and he scores from 16 yards out for Central in the second half. And then in a fairly controversial play late in this game, back to pass, Minneapolis North quarterback Anthony Jackson. He finds Chris Washington about 45 yards. He makes the catch, but fumbles right before the end zone. The official rules a touchdown. Actually, they ruled it a touchback after further consultation with the rest of the officials, and the Trojans win this game 38-34. No touchdown. It was a touchback, so Central got the ball after that point. The second game of the night at Public School Stadium featured crosstown rivals Duluth East and Duluth Denfeld. Both teams searching for their first win of the year. John Schottenbauer has been at the field all night. John, what's going on out there?
Well, Tom, let me tell you what, it's a great night for football out here at Public School Stadium. Great night earlier, or great game earlier with the Central win, a bizarre ending to that game. And this game between East and Denfeld has had its fair share of excitement as well. Let's go to those highlights. In the first quarter, East would fumble the ball on their opening drive. Hunters QB Tom Downs finds John Moore for the 18-yard touchdown pass. And the Hunters would be on top 7-0 in the first quarter. And there you see that play there for the touchdown. And then in the second quarter, senior running back Brandon Borich would rumble to the end zone from 15 yards out to give Denfeld a 14-0 halftime lead, and that would end the first half. Right now in the fourth quarter, the score is 14-6. With about 4:20 left, Denfeld is on top. East Pete Sanders ran one in from the 5-yard line. And Tom, one thing to tell you here out here at the high school game, we were out here for both games. I feel like I'm in high school again. The only difference now is I'm really tired. Back to you.
Very much, John. A busy night for you, and it's still not over with yet. The Proctor Rails hosted Mesabi East at Terry Egerdahl Field tonight. Both of these teams looking for their first win of the year. Let's take you to the action tonight in Proctor. Mesabi East cheerleaders trying to get the folks rallied up for this one in the first quarter. Make that first quarter a short touchdown run for Blair McKibben for Proctor. That made it 7-0 in favor of the Rails. Then later in the second quarter, Proctor quarterback Chris Sums goes back to pass. A nice play. He'll hook up with Jay Dardis, a big gain. That would eventually lead to Proctor's second score of the game, 14-0 at the half. Proctor goes on to win this ball game by a final score of 28-0. In baseball, the home run hitting contest between Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa grew closer as Sammy got 59 against the Brewers today. Brewers win it, though, 13-11, 0 for 4 for McGuire. In college soccer this afternoon, St. Scholastica faced St. John's in a non-conference battle this afternoon. Here's an attack on the net, but the Saints defender comes out of nowhere, knocks it out of bounds. However, not enough. It was St. Scholastica losing to St. John's this afternoon. And finally, in racing, the Wing Sprint Cars are making a rare appearance in the Northland this weekend. Their show is part of the 10th annual Northern Nationals at Superior Speedway. Sprints and Super Stocks race tonight. This is action from the Super Stock races. Modifieds and late models compete tomorrow. Street Stocks will have heats Friday and features on Saturday. Another packed house at the Superior Speedway tonight. More than 100 racers were competing. One Twins score to pass along to you. The A's over the Twins, 3-2.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
We're going to be right back. Don't go away.
Black Bear Casino is going to heat up your summer with hot cash excitement. Hot, hot, hot. Every Saturday night through September, Black Bear will be giving away cash prizes totaling $15,000 to 15 winners. Hot, hot, hot. You can qualify any one of 7 ways for these terrific drawings. You must be present to win. Hot, hot, hot. Where's the coolest place to win incredible hot cash? You know where. Black Bear Casino, 20 minutes south of Duluth on I-35.
We asked Catherine and David Martin to lend us their answering machine and try the U.S. West voice messaging service. Catherine was thrilled because now she can talk on the phone and still get messages. David was delighted because now he can get messages without worrying about broken tapes or muffled messages. So it's no surprise that when we tried to return their old machine, they didn't seem a bit interested. U.S. West. Life's better here.
Barbara Riles, I-Team 6 Investigations.
The sale of you is big business, bringing the state millions of dollars each year. And it's not just your name that's sold.
Raising your awareness.
I think it is appalling and immoral that states are selling our identities.
Finding answers.
There is a way to restrict access to your personal information, at least to some degree. In 1996,
Barbara Riles and I-Team 6 on the Channel 6 News.
Tonight, Jay's all new with Timothy Hutton, Dee Dee Pfeiffer, Amazing Birds, and Mr. Brain. Then Conan's got Alan Alda and Saturday Night Live's Anna Gasteyer, NBC tonight.
Well, Northlanders will be out in force tomorrow morning walking to make Alzheimer's disease a memory. The 3-mile memory walk will start at 10 a.m. at the Park Point Pavilion in Duluth. Registration gets underway at 9. Entertainment will include a clocking group, the Shrine Clowns, and accordionist Lauren Lindevig.
Now, News 6 is proud to be a sponsor of this event. If you could make it, stop by and say hi. Proceeds will go to Alzheimer's research. You'll be out there with your little shoes on. You're in great shape.
Well, I don't know about great shape, but I'm going to make all the full 3 miles. No problem.
There you go. Well, in the past, we've been pretty daring at the memory walk. If you go all the way to the end, it's 5.
Oh.
But we're a little out of control.
I'm going to try it this
We
year.
walkers.
Yes.
It's a beautiful walk. You're going to be walking into a wind, though. It's going to be northeast coming right down the lake. It'll be much cooler than it is now. You'll fall asleep. It's summertime. When you wake up, it'll be fall again. It's going to be a delightful day, though, across Northland. The sunshine will be back. Temperature starting the morning there in the 50s. But as we go to Saturday afternoon, much cooler than today. We will not see the muggy 80s for highs. In fact, we might not even see 70.
Good news for a lot of folks, huh? All right.
Thanks, George. And thank you for staying in touch with us tonight. Jay Leno's next with Timothy Hutton and Dee Dee Pfeiffer.
I'll see you back here tomorrow morning during the Today Show.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Men's wardrobe provided by Mainstream Fashions for Men, located in the heart of downtown Duluth.
Looking for more choices at breakfast?
Now, McDonald's Breakfast Extra Value Meals start at just $1.99. There are 4 sandwiches to choose from. Egg McMuffin, Sausage McMuffin with egg, Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Biscuit, and Sausage Biscuit with egg. Try one in an extra value meal starting at just $1.99. Did somebody say McDonald's?
From New York, Chicago, Detroit. Here in Minnesota, selling drugs, killing innocent people, scaring us all. Skip Humphreys failed to make fighting violent crime his top priority. He has 240 lawyers in his office, but he's assigned only 18 to the criminal division. As governor, I'll run a gang-busting strike force myself. And I'm not just blowing smoke. I'll go after those thugs as if your life depended on it.
Mark Dayton and Julie Jansen, working for you.
On August 23rd, North Star Ford sustained light hail damage on over 400 vehicles. The National Hail Damage Team has been flown in to assist with insurance settlements. Savings up to $12,000 will be passed on to the general public. We have no other option. New 98 F-150 XLTs were $21,205 slashed to $14,999 or 0 down $199 a month. Even 97 Taurus 0 down $199 a month. Everything is selling fast. Don't miss huge hail savings available now at #1 North Star Ford.
We interrupt President Clinton's latest apology to bring you The Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
4 Emmy nominations for Jay and Conan. NBC really is the late-night leader.
From the NBC studios in Burbank, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, featuring Kevin Eubanks and The Tonight Show Band. And me, I'm Ed Hall. Tonight, Jay welcomes from the new movie Swimming to China, actor-director Timothy Hutton. From For Your Love, actress Dee Dee Pfeiffer. From SeaWorld and Busch Gardens, performing birds. And a visit with Mr. Brain. And now, Jay